Hi everybody, I'm Lance Smith, and I am going to tell everybody my hysterical 2026 Super Bowl story. And there is a little moral at the end of this story. I got to keep this video 45 minutes or below, or the video camera on my phone just shuts off at like 55. So I'm going to keep this 45 minutes or below. So let's see if I can get this whole story, the whole story out on the page on the camera. So my apartment is about 500 feet away from a really nice bowling alley. They have, instead of plastic chairs, they have couches. It's awesome. And there's a small bar in there that I go to for karaoke every Friday and Monday. And they were definitely open. The bar was open for Super Bowl Sunday. So I had saved up $40. Thinking to myself, I'm going to spend like 15 bucks on a cheese pizza and then spend $25 on alcohol, cheap alcohol, and see how drunk I can get. So about an hour before Super Bowl started, I walked to the bowling alley. It's about 500 feet from my apartment. And the first thing that I got excited about was there was a huge table of food set up, and I've seen this before when they have parties. They take out these tables and they fill it up with food for reserved people. But and it always has a sticker or a sign on it that says reserved for this party. So I got there and the two tables were set up, and they had like breadsticks and marinara. They had chicken parmesan, garden salad and dressing, and some other things, and there was no reserve sign, so I got really excited. I was like, all right, the bowling alley's hooking us up with free food for Super Bowl, and I can spend $40 on alcohol instead of $25. And they had just forgotten to put the reserve sign out, so I was like, darn it, never mind. So it looks like I am ordering a cheese pizza after all. Okay, so before the game started, I went ahead and I ordered a Wells vodka and cranberry juice. It only cost $4.25. And after that, I went and ordered my cheese pizza. But the cheese pizzas were on sale for Super Bowl, so instead of $11, it only costed $9. So that was a plus. And so I'm sipping my cranberry, waiting for kickoff to happen. I don't like to sit and wait for the game to start. Kickoff is never a huge thing to me. I like to see it, but it doesn't hurt me to miss it. So I'm pacing the bowling alley, sipping cranberry juice. And I keep glancing at the screen in the bar, the TV, and eventually the game started. So I sat down, and the guy brought out my pizza, and I'm drinking my cranberry juice. That bowling alley, the first pizza I tried from them, I think it was pepperoni and olive and mushroom, and it was wonderful. Their cheese pizza isn't so good. Cheese pizzas, different pizza joints, some of them have a really good cheese pizza, some of them have terrible cheese pizza. The bowling alley one doesn't do a good cheese, but I do know two places where you can get an excellent cheese pizza. That bowling alley isn't one of them. You need to get toppings on it. But anyways, I drank my vodka cranberry, and I ate my pizza, and I decided to order another drink. Now, when I ordered the vodka cranberry, I pulled out all my money, and I think I broke a 10, and she gave me the money back, and I kept all of it, and she noticed that. Okay, so when I ordered my second drink, I said, can I please get Wells tequila, orange juice, and some Sprite? And she pulled out a big glass, and she dumped 3 shots of tequila in it, and orange juice and Sprite, and I only had to pay a quarter 25. So I was like, right on. Okay, so she gave me more alcohol because I didn't give her a tip. So that was a plus. Okay, so I'm in the bowling alley bar on my second drink now, and watching the game. Let's see here. What had happened? So, let me see here. So, okay, so I'm sitting there, and then I finally, I can hear the Super Bowl barely, but then I understand that on the flat screen in the bar, the sound isn't on, so I'm actually hearing the game from the TVs out on the bowling lanes. So the bartender's working, and I stop her, and I say, why don't you guys have the TVs set up? And she goes, well, every Sunday they have trivia in this bar. Okay, and I look behind me, and where you sing karaoke, there's a guy with a microphone, and you know, there's like 15 tables in the bar, but only 2 of them are filled with people with pieces of paper, and they're playing trivia. Okay, so the guy's just asking, you know, he's just asking trivia questions, and people are writing the answers down. But it's Super Bowl Sunday in the bowling alley, and because they didn't cancel trivia, they're not allowed to turn the TVs on. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, yeah, this is a great Super Bowl. You know, I get to watch the game on a silent TV. You know, I'm like, when the commercials come on, I can't hear them. I love the commercials the best, even more than the halftime show. I didn't hear one commercial. The story gets funnier, though, much funnier. So yeah, you know, every time a commercial comes on, I try my best to listen to the TVs from the bowling lanes, but I can never hear them. And, let's see here. As we go on, you know, I paced myself really well with the alcohol. I was just having a good time, not trying to get trashed. So the 3 shots of tequila took me a long time to drink. Here's the next funny part. So I'm sipping on my tequila, and halftime finally reaches. And I've got a couple people to the left of me and a couple people to the right. To the left of me was a nerdy guy in glasses and his friends. To the right of me was a fat guy and his friends. And the halftime show comes on, and I get really excited. I'm like, all right, so Bad Bunny's opening. Is opening for Green Day. I was like, man, I'm excited to see Green Day after Bad Bunny. And you know, the concert was loud enough that I could hear it from the bowling lanes, because they wouldn't even turn the TVs up for the halftime show. So anyways, the halftime show starts, and it's Bad Bunny. And I pointed out to everybody, is that Jessica Alba dancing in the crowd of the Bad Bunny people? And they all looked at me and said, no, man, what are you talking about? Are you dumb? I was like, I could have sworn that was Jessica Alba. And they said something, I think that was Kim Kardashian. I was like, no, I think that was Jessica Alba. What are you guys talking about? But maybe I was wrong. But anyway, so the halftime show starts. You know, Bad Bunny was pretty cool. I've never listened to a song by him, but I thought his halftime show wasn't bad. And Bad Bunny ended, and Green Day didn't even take the stage. And I was like, wow, so I mean, bummer. I guess Green Day got canceled. That was irritating. I was really looking forward to that. I thought it would have been cool to see American Idiot. I don't know. But anyway, so the halftime show ended, and the game went on, and I was still sipping on my tequila and orange juice. Okay, this is where it gets really, really funny. So my tequila and orange juice is getting low. And the bartender had mentioned to me, you know, it was a woman bartender who had been bartending for many years. And she's like, "Are you thinking about what you're going to get next?" And I was like, "Yeah, let me think about it." And I cracked a joke at her that I was positive that she would get, and she didn't. She's a bartender. And I told her, for my next drink, I would like a brass monkey. And she looks at me and goes, "What in the hell is a brass monkey?" And I was like, "You don't know what a brass monkey is?" And she goes, "No, I've never heard brass monkey before." And I was just like stunned. Who hasn't heard of a brass monkey? Okay. What is a brass monkey? A brass monkey is just orange juice mixed with beer, or beer mixed with orange juice. If you want to get more specific, it's Old English mixed with orange juice. If you want to get even more specific, it's a 40 of Old English beer, and you dump half of it out, and you dump half of orange juice in it, and you shake it up. That's a brass monkey. I mean, the idea is just beer mixed with orange juice because you don't like the taste of beer. Yeah, you know, Old English beer, it's not 6%. It's either 8% or 12%. So, I mean, you get a 40 of it, and you drink the whole thing, and it gets you trashed. Me and my friends used to do it in high school. We heard it was a gangster thing, so we had to try it ourselves. And, yes, a 40 of Old English will get you drunk. So, anyways, I asked her, you know, yeah, make me a brass monkey as a joke, and she told me what the hell is a brass monkey. So that really cracked me up, because she had been a bartender for like 15 years. Okay, so what did I come up with next? Okay. Oh, the next thing I asked her, I said, "Do you know how to make a Scooby snack?" She said, "Yes, I do know how to make a Scooby snack." And I was like, "What is in a Scooby snack anyways?" And she told me it's coconut rum, watermelon liqueur, and cream. And I was like, wow, those ingredients are good. I have tried a Scooby snack before, but I've never drank an entire one myself. And those are some good ingredients for a cup of alcohol. And I told her, yeah, you know what? I'm Detective Scrappy-Doo. I will take a Scooby snack. Well, actually, before I said that, I was talking... Oh, a girl was sitting next to me for a little bit, and I had a conversation with her, and eventually... Oh, when I asked about the Scooby snack, I had asked her if I were any of those characters from Scooby-Doo, which one would I be? She said Shaggy, and I said no, but close enough. Her friend said, "You'd be Scooby-Doo, wouldn't you?" And I said, "No, I'd be Scooby-Doo's little friend." And they're like, "Scrappy?" Yeah, I was like, "Yeah, I'd be Scrappy-Doo, exactly." So, anyways, eventually I told the bartender, "Yes, I'm Detective Scrappy-Doo. I will take a Scooby snack, please." And she goes to make the Scooby snack, and she gets into her computer system, and she brings it up, and she says, "Hey, I actually don't have a... Hey, Scrappy, I actually don't have a button to make a Scooby snack, so you're going to have to order something different." And I was like, really? Okay, you're not going to make me a Scooby snack because you can't find a button, okay? All right, I told her, all right, give me a minute and I'll come up with something different, okay? This gets much funnier, okay? Oh, man, this gets way funnier. All right, what I told her next was this. Wow, this was really funny to me. Look, by this time, I've drank in 3 shots of tequila, and 1 shot of vodka, and I've caught a good buzz, and I'm having a great time. You know, I ate a cheese pizza, 3 shots of Wells tequila, 1 shot of rum, or of vodka. And anyways, so after she denied me the Scooby snack, I told her, you know what? I'm feeling like I said, all right, check this out. I've got $21, I laid all my money out. I said, I've got $21 cash, and I'm feeling like Dr. Doom. What do you think I should order? What do you think I should order as Dr. Doom? What can you put together for Dr. Doom? What do you think Dr. Doom should order for $21? And she goes, I've got it. Okay. What you need is a cheap shot of vodka. And that really killed me. I was like, a cheap shot of vodka, huh? And then I asked her, if you got a chance to meet either Roger Rabbit or Dr. Doom, which one would you like to meet? She goes, I would rather meet Roger Rabbit. I was like, well, I'm not Roger Rabbit, I'm Dr. Doom. But then I told her, you know what? Wait, I can be a rabbit too. Okay, I am the White Rabbit from Alice in Wonderland. And that cracked her up too. And then she said, did you want the cheap shot of vodka? And I told her, no, give me a minute to come up with something better. And, well, before that, with that other girl, I had another conversation. She had been a bartender for the bowling alley too, and she was checking on her friend on the game. And I had talked to her a little bit, and we got to talking about bourbon whiskey, and I had told her, you know, in high school, me and I've only tried bourbon 1 time. In high school, me and my friends bought a half gallon of bourbon for $12 from the store. And I told her it was the worst alcohol I've ever had in my life. Okay, it was only a half gallon for 12 bucks off the shelf. And it was bourbon. And it burned worse than Monarch. It burned worse than Bacardi 151. Than Monarch 151. Than Everclear. Okay, $12 bourbon, a half gallon of $12 bourbon. Okay, it was one that I couldn't drink. I would just take a shot, and I was like, yeah, I'm just not gonna drink that. I can't do it. But anyways, so I told her I never drank bourbon again after that. Could you please tell me a good bourbon? And she said, Jim Beam is a really good bourbon. And I told her, Jim Beam is bourbon? I said, actually, I love Jim Beam. It's one of my favorite whiskeys. I said, yeah, it's a wonderful whiskey. It's really, really cheap, but it is such a good whiskey. I love Jim Beam. And, because Jim Beam is an outstanding whiskey. I guess it's a bourbon. I don't know what bourbon means. I don't know what Scotch means. I don't know what any of that stuff means. But anyways, so eventually that bartender left, and I found myself sitting next to a nerdy kid in glasses to the left of me, because that bartender girl and her friend left. And then to the right of me was the fat guy and his 2 friends. Well, so eventually I had the whole conversation with the other bartender. You know, you can't have a Scooby snack. I told her I'm Dr. Doom, and she said you should get a shot of cheap vodka. And then she said, come up with something different. And I said I'll come up with something different. And what I came up with was give me a Coca-Cola with a shot of Jim Beam and some grenadine and a lime wedge. And, you know, that costed me $4.25, and she made that for me. And Jim Beam and cola and grenadine and lime juice isn't that good. I like to straight shot Jim Beam. It's a good stuff to straight shot. I feel like Crown Royal mixes better with Coca-Cola. And my favorite whiskey is an Irish whiskey called Tullamore Dew. That stuff is good to straight shot and to mix with Coca-Cola. Crown Royal is smooth, but it doesn't taste very good, but it goes wonderful with Coca-Cola. And I don't mind straight shotting Jim Beam. When I go to the bars sometimes, I will I'll order 3 shots of Jim Beam and I'll line them up and I'll say, all right, it's time to walk the plank with Jim Beam, and then I'll line all the 3 shots up like this. I go, yeah, give me the 3 shots of Jim Beam, and then I'll ask for either a Sprite or a Coca-Cola to chase it with, and they'll drop it off, and I line it up, and I'll go, all right, everybody, it's time to walk the plank with Jim Beam. And then you straight shoot all 3 of them and chase them with some Coke or Sprite. And Jim Beam is it's a very pleasant whiskey for me to straight shot. And but anyways, Jim Beam with cola and grenadine and lime juice wasn't very good. And Jack Daniel's is a weird whiskey. Sometimes it tastes wonderful and smooth and sweet. Other times it tastes worse than cheap bourbon. Sometimes it's good and sometimes it isn't. I actually want to make Jack Daniel's my flask whiskey. Okay, like I'll get a 1/5 of whiskey and pour it in a flask and I'll try it. If it's a good batch, then I'll be excited. If it's a bad batch, I'm going to dump it out and go buy another 1/5 until I find a good batch. Okay, Jack Daniel's is weird. I swear, every 1/5 of Jack Daniel's tastes a little bit different. I might be wrong, but that's from my experience. Let me see here. So anyways, I'm drinking my my whiskey and Coke and grenadine and lime juice. It's not very good, but it works. We're getting towards the end of the game. And I start talking to the nerd to the left of me and the fat guy to the right about football, and that was funny. What was part of the conversation I remember? I do remember talking to the nerd to the left of me. I told him, do you know what was so crazy about... Well, the first thing I asked him was, what was the most memorable Super Bowl that you ever watched? I believe everybody probably has one, and I do too. My most memorable Super Bowl was the Broncos versus the 49ers. It just seemed like everybody in my life, everyone at school, and all my family members made a really big deal about it, so I got excited about it too. It was the Broncos versus Green Day. I don't even remember who won. But anyways, I kept talking to the 2 nerds to the left of me, and we got to talking about, I said, wasn't it crazy how Travis Kelce broke Jerry Rice's record? They're like, yeah, that was crazy. I was like, yeah, it completely shocked me. I was like, how is that even possible? I was like, this monster tight end. He's not even a wide receiver. Okay, a tight end. He goes out for 10-yard passes almost every single time. Okay, he doesn't run 70 yards up the field to catch a pass. He goes out 10 yards. Okay, the tight end broke the wide receiver's record. He didn't just break a tight end's record. He broke a wide receiver's record. The record is set by a tight end. I was like, that is the craziest thing I've ever heard. How did that happen? I was like, and the nerds are like, yeah, that was intense. They're like, Jerry Rice today is still, he's still doing really, really good and trying to set a new record or something like that. And I was like, didn't Jerry Rice play for the 49ers like 50 years ago? And they're like, yeah, I think he did, you know? And I was like, yeah, so he's not playing anymore, is he? And they're like, we don't know. Maybe he is. I was like, yeah, maybe he is. Maybe Jerry Rice is still playing. But it wasn't that crazy. So I thought Jerry Rice set the record for receiving yards. He was a wide receiver for the 49ers like 20 or 30 years ago. And then a big monster tight end breaks the record. I was like, that's cool. I was like, so, man, you know, Patrick and Travis were a real irritating match there. So everybody's getting out in the open in the field. He just keeps throwing 10, 20-yard passes to Travis Kelce. That is hilarious. But the nerds were talking to me about it. I thought they were following. They're like, yeah, and Jerry Rice is still playing. I was like, okay. The two nerds were still really fun to talk to. And I don't know what I talked about the frat guys with. After I got done talking with them, well, I looked up at the TV, and I think I was rooting for the Patriots, and the Seahawks were 3 touchdowns ahead, and I told myself I might be leaving soon. So I'm drinking my whiskey, and I look up, and it shows that the Patriots actually scored a touchdown. I think they had 9 or 7 minutes left to at least score 2 touchdowns. I said, you know what? They might be able to pull this off. I mean, a couple years ago, the Jaguars, I think they scored like 5 touchdowns in like 4 minutes or something and came back and won, something like that. I was like, yeah, so the Patriots might be able to bust out 2 touchdowns. And, you know, we were at about 7 or 6 minutes. And, you know, I told everybody, all right, go team. This is getting interesting. We can come back, you guys. You know, I got everybody pumped. And then the Patriots threw an interception. I was like, whoa, that sucks. You know, there was like 6 or 5 minutes left, and I was like, that was depressing. So I had only finished like half my whiskey and Coke. There was like 4 minutes left, and I walked home and I went to bed. So that was my hysterical Super Bowl Sunday. I had a lot of fun. It was great. A little bit of alcohol, a cheese pizza, some fun conversation with some boys and some girls, some comedy. It was really silly, the whole game. There was 2 tables of people and a guy asking trivia questions. It was louder than I could hear the trivia questions better than the game from the bowling alleys. Yeah, it was just a really funny Super Bowl to me. It was very comedic, very peaceful, very fun, very uplifting. It was neat what everybody said, what everybody ordered. It was a good time. Let me see here. But yeah, after that, I left and I went home and I went to bed. And I checked my phone the next day, and the reason I didn't see Green Day at the halftime show was because Green Day did their little concert show before the game even started. So I was like, that makes sense. I wish I would have seen that I wish I would have watched that with everyone else in America. I kind of felt like an American idiot. Alright, we're at 30 minutes. I need to wrap this up. The moral of the story: is, look, that bar that I go to in the bowling alley, even if I have no money, then I can go to it on Friday and Monday nights and drink water and sing karaoke. And now I know every Sunday night, if I don't have any money, I can go drink water and play trivia in the bar. That actually sounds like a lot of fun. A guy asks stuff or questions into a microphone and you have to write your answers down. I wonder if there's a way to win anything. But I think it was free to play. And yeah. So on top of Fridays and Monday nights, I'll definitely be at the bowling alley every Sunday night for trivia if I have no money, or even if I do have money. Sounds like something fun to do. Some people are barflies. I now like to call myself a bowling alley barfly. You know, and if I ever have extra money and the energy, I like to bowl too. It's fun to shoot for a perfect game, even if you're only able to get like 85 like I did last time. I thought I was going to break 160. I thought I had it in me to break 180. I might be able to pull off a 301, get that perfect game. Ended up hitting 85, even though I tried my hardest. So I wasn't even able to break 100. Bowling is a really fun game. All right, we're at 32 minutes. It looks like so the moral of the story is, I don't know what the moral of the story is, but it was, I learned something. The moral of the story was I learned something that night. There's free trivia at the bowling alley. So I don't know how else to express that moral. But there is a moral there, I think. Okay, so I'm at 33 minutes, so it looks like I have enough time to express this real quick. I am an entrepreneur, and I came up with this really wonderful, fun entrepreneur idea and pitch to give the people that set up the NFL, okay? It's going to be a really, really big deal. Clearly not as big as the Super Bowl itself, but it's going to be a really, really big deal, okay? A huge deal. I'm not giving any of it away. I need the people that set up the NFL to contact me so I can give them this entrepreneur idea. It's not a difficult idea, but it's going to help and pick up and be fun for a lot of people. It's not an expensive idea. It's an easy idea, but it's a huge idea. And I need the NFL set up director people to contact me to bring this entrepreneur idea to life. You know, within the next couple to few years to come. It's a really fun, safe, easy, money-making idea. I need someone from the NFL to contact me and say, come on in and give us the pitch. And I will, okay? So, yeah, the NFL needs to contact me and say, we want to hear the pitch. You know, we'll pay for you to take a train into our city, and we'll pay for you to stay at a motel, and we'll have a taxi come pick you up and bring you into your office and give us this easy, fun, cheap, huge pitch that is super fun and is going to make money. Okay? All right, so that was my hysterical 2026 Super Bowl story. It was a true one, a real one. and one of the best Super Bowls that I've ever had. Trying to remember if I ever had a better one. It was really cool. I like that Super Bowl where the Giants were going against, I think it was the Patriots. And no one thought they were going to win. And that receiver caught the ball on his helmet. Does everyone remember that? He went to go catch the ball, and he caught it with like one hand on his head. Does anybody remember that? Okay, like there was no way they were going to win, and like the receiver went out and it hit him in the helmet, and he caught it like this. Okay, and they still had to get into the touchdown, and they came back and win. The Giants won the Super Bowl against the Patriots, and I think the Patriots were going on a perfect season. It was crazy. It was a perfect season. The Giants got in on a wild card, and they had it in the bag, and this receiver catches the ball on his helmet. It was like, okay, he made that catch. They still have to get into the end zone, and they pull it off. And I was like, I think that was my favorite. You know, I am not a Giants fan at all, but that was something else. I was like, that did not just happen, okay? They came back and won. I might be incorrect that it was Giants and the Patriots. What was that season when the Patriots almost had a perfect season? Like, they won every game, they made it to the Super Bowl, and they lost. My cousin Aaron is the biggest Patriots fan in the world, and he cried his eyes out. That was funny. I'm trying to think of a better Super Bowl than the Giants. You know, I had an abusive dad, but I had a lot of fun with him sometimes. There was a game where I watched the game with my abusive dad in his bedroom on a little TV, and it was funny watching my dad get excited every time a play happened. He got really drunk with beer, and I was drinking soda. And every time a play happened, he would go, "Whoa! Wow! That was so cool!" It was a fun Super Bowl. We had a bunch of food, and we got excited about watching the game on his little TV. It was funny. That was a memorable one. I think I like the Giants game the best. What was another memorable one? The Broncos and Green Day. I think my team, the Panthers, won the Super Bowl one year, but I didn't even watch it because I wasn't rooting them that year. What's another Super Bowl game? Let me think here. Nothing is coming to mind right now. Jeez, man, the Chiefs were supposed to win 3 Super Bowls in a row, and they got destroyed. That was an embarrassing, lame Super Bowl to me. I think Tom Brady was laughing his ass off at Patrick Mahomes because Patrick Mahomes got I think he lost his concentration. I think he got his mind. He didn't stay in the game. He was looking at the glory at the end of it, and he lost his composure. I'm wondering if Tom Brady went through the same thing when he made it to that situation. Yeah, winning 3 Super Bowls in a row is probably really, really, really difficult because you still have to keep your composure and your concentration. You don't automatically have it in the bag, but that was a really, really embarrassing, lame game when the Chiefs played. Who was it? Who destroyed the Chiefs? The Eagles, man. The Eagles destroyed them. I'm at 41 minutes. I'm shutting this off at 45. And regarding the Eagles, I'm going to bring this up. Who's everybody's favorite quarterback? Look, when I watch quarterbacks, I feel like they all dance differently in the pocket. They all move differently. They all have different stances. So I like some of them and I hate some of them. Okay, I love my team are the Panthers, but I used to hate my quarterback. What was his name? I don't like Russell Wilson and I don't like Cam Newton. Okay, my quarterback was Cam Newton. I just don't like how he dances in the pocket. Okay, Hurts for the Eagles. He's got a cool stance, and I like how he throws the football. Okay, he's got his stance actually looks uncomfortable, but it's a cool one. Okay, and I do like how he throws the football. Okay, Patrick Mahomes. I love watching him play. He is I feel like everybody likes how he moves in the pocket. Okay. But my favorite quarterback of all time was Brett Favre, okay? I used to not watch very much football, and all the games that I'm someone who likes to see a bullet pass, okay? Just a straight pass, a hard, fast, straight pass. And I feel like no one did that more than Brett Favre. I could be wrong, but from my own eyes, that's what it seemed like. If Brett Favre's receiver is 5 yards away, he'll bullet at him and just pluck it off his helmet. And if it's a 70 or 90 yard pass, Brett Favre just throws a bullet. Like, that's what it seemed like to me. I mean, Brett Favre seems to throw the bullets more than anyone, and I like to see that. I mean, that's why he was my favorite quarterback, because he throws bullets all over the place. And one time when I was watching him, again, I don't watch many games, but I can always count on Brett Favre to throw a lot of bullets, not just one. He just throws a lot of bullets. And I was watching Brett Favre one time, and he handed off to his running back, and he ran in front of the running back, and he threw a block. I was like, I've never seen a quarterback do that before. I was like, that is awesome. So, I mean, Brett Favre, he throws bullets, and as a quarterback, he'll hand the ball off and block for his running back. And I was like, that is my favorite quarterback. Even though he's not the best or the winner. I mean, like, I guess he needed to learn how to pass better. I guess it's more important to win than it is to throw bullets, but I still like Brett Favre. I mean, that was, I don't know. But Cam Newton was my quarterback. I just don't like the way he moves in the pocket. So I had troubles rooting for my own team. And I don't like Russell Wilson. And it was funny because the second string quarterback came in for Russell Wilson, and Russell Wilson was so much better than the second string. That was funny when he was playing for the Seahawks. So, yeah, I mean, like, if you know what? Brett Favre had an amazing bullet. So if he learned how to have more control of the ball, you know, how to float a pass better or how to slow down a pass, he would have been the best because he could bust out the bullet whenever he needed it. Yeah. So I mean, if he would have learned to be more like Tom Brady, then he would have been the best. But he's still my favorite for throwing all those bullets. All right, we're coming up at 45. I got to cut this off. Let's all look forward to 2027 Super Bowl. You all have a good day.